School of Theatre. Do you see?
3 years there?
A 3-year course, and then a postgraduate, except it wasn't a degree, it was a teaching certificate, a post kind of diploma course I did up there as well. And then, so it was 4 years actually altogether. But I loved it. It was heaven. I suddenly
thought, I'm at home. This
Yeah.
is it. Yeah, okay. I was like, God, you did that.
Yes, that was a very long story. But
No, I'm glad you got that there to where you should have been all along, obviously. But maybe you're supposed to go via that way, maybe.
yeah.
Did you think, do you know, I think I can do comedy? Or was that just always part of who you are?
I think it was always part of, having a joke and a laugh and making people laugh. It was kind of very important somehow. It's what you were saying. You do get love back from people. It's powerful. And it puts things in perspective so much as well. Things that can be overwhelming. Them at the worst of circumstances. Just comedy is wonderful, isn't it? For just making it small. It's, looking through the other end of the telescope. It's just fantastic for that. And so I love it. But I wanted to act. This is what I wanted to do. I never thought I want to be a comedian or anything like that. And then I went to the Everyman Theatre first. And of course it was such a lot of comic stuff that we did then. And that was, maybe I'm exaggerating. The pub shows we did we all wrote her. Matthew Kelly, he was there with me.
Was he?
He was.
Here's him being a proper actor now. Look at him.
Proper, no. He's never off the television. I know, it's great though.
Did you ever think you could do stand-up?
No. I wouldn't know where to start, really. You'd have to write it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Have you never desired to write?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've written sort of daft things like... Not daft things, but, like about my pregnancy. I wrote a little book about it. But I've never thought of standing up and telling jokes. I don't know.
Did you go and see people doing that ever? Were you around kind of comedy clubs and stuff? Did you?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, not until I met Vic.
And you met her where?
At the Bush Theatre in 1978.
Okay, so you'd already qualified and everything. Didn't meet as students then?
No, yes, we did. She came and auditioned at Manchester Polytechnic, and I remember this little girl with glasses throwing up in a bucket. She was so nervous, and she didn't get in. I mean, they've never lived it down at Manchester Polytechnic. I've had letters because I've told everybody, the world and his wife, that she didn't get in. So I eventually got a letter off the director of Manchester Polytechnic saying, "Oh, right, we're sorry she didn't get in." Just
stop saying it.
Yes.
Well, how do you know she threw up in a bucket? Were you there?
Yes, I was ushering people through. Oh. And, sort of in a leotard, sort of showing off.
I'm already here.
Yes.
I'm already a student. I'm rather clever.
Yes, you're not yet. You might not get in, any of you. You might not be good enough like me. And it was like that. And then I met at 1978 at the Bush when we did this thing called In at the Death, which the audience were every night. And she wrote this really funny, like the playlets they were meant to be called. But they were like big sketches. And she wrote a really funny sketch, and I was in it with her, and that's how we met. It was brilliant.
Do you think if you hadn't done the stuff with Vic, do you think you would have sought out the chance to do sketches ever with anybody else?
Oh, I think I would have, yeah, because I loved them, sketches. Yeah, absolutely, I would have, I think. I mean, I did other sort of comedy, like Alan Bennett and Alan Bleasdale and things like that, but not, only Vic have I done the sketches, and I adore them.
Yeah.
Just love them, those characters.
And will you always do some comedy, do you think? Do you think you'll always seek it out?
Oh, I hope so, yeah. I mean, because, I don't know, it's just a great healing thing. I know that sounds wanky, but
It's not at all wanky, I think that's right. But there are a lot of actresses who regard comedy as a slightly lower form of something.
That's because they can't do it, I think. Yes, I think people, because you can't teach it. It's the one thing you can get people to learn how to cry, But you can't, well, maybe that's not the right example, but a lot of straight actors can't do comedy. All comedians are good actors. I've never seen one be in anything that who isn't a good actor. And there's just something about it, because it's a real understanding, isn't it, of what makes us tick.
I think possibly, you tell me, the comedy work you've done makes people love you so much that they carry the love into the other stuff that you do as well. Do you think that's...
I suppose, yes, I think so. In some ways, I think comedy's far more revealing than sort of tragic roles are. And there's a sort of... Because there's a kind of acknowledgement somewhere in comedy, isn't there, of human sort of fragility and vulnerability. Yes, I don't know what, but I think I think it's that, something about that. I don't know, it's very hard to say.
It is hard. There's something about your career that a lot of these women want to have, frankly.
Right.
So
No,
they're
but you
basically
can't have
saying, could you move on?
Yes, now. You're getting on.
Stop now.
Yeah. Oh.
Especially amongst the younger comedians, they want to be actresses also. Interesting what you said
Yes.
about comedians being able to act.
Yeah,
they don't want anyone to give them a boundary whatsoever.
No, why should there be categories? It's sort of...
Yeah, and it seems only right that you could jump about, you know, in this particular job.
Yes.
Do you seek out the company of funny people? Ever?
Do I seek them out?
Yeah. I don't mean do you go knocking on the doors of Billy Connolly and
No.
people like saying, come out to play with me now. I didn't mean that, but did you ever, like, especially when you were a bit younger, maybe when you were at Polytechnic, were you drawn to the funny people?
Was I drawn to them? Yes, up to a point. Yes, more so than people with no sense of humour. That's very difficult, isn't it? No, so yeah, definitely drawn to people who make me laugh, and I want to find out what makes them laugh.
And you couldn't be in a big relationship with somebody then who didn't make you laugh?
No, because Grant makes me laugh. I love his sense of humour because it isn't the same as mine, and I love the things that make him laugh. And yes. But I tell you, talking about being attracted to funny people, I did this BBC Two drama called Murder, which was a terribly painful thing about her son being murdered, this woman that I played. And Imelda Staunton played the policewoman in it. Well, I used to wait for the day. Is Imelda in? Wait for her because she's just so funny. She just made me, she was telling me stories about when she was at the RSC. And I used to get in the bath that night and just think about these stories and really laugh, you know. And I was like, thank you, Imelda, thank you. She was
a company of other women that are funny, actually. I was thinking that when you did Calendar Girls.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing you all getting up to get yet another award for that. Thinking that looks like that must have been great fun with that group of people.
Because we were all the same age, all flushing together. And yes, it was really good. He was on HRT, he was working it. And all, yeah, it was just really lovely.
How do you go about putting a character together? What's the process that do you have a process?
Not really. It comes usually from, sometimes I read a script and think, oh yeah, and you sort of feel it inside. I know who this is, right? Don't know what she's doing in that scene, but I kind of know who this is. And then other times I look at it and think, God, I don't know how to play that. And I often feel like right up until just before, and Grant always says, you always say that. What? I don't know how to play. You always say that. And maybe I do. Maybe it's panic that I'm not going to get it or something. But generally, it's just good writing sort of throws it up usually.
You don't do this, let's start with the shoes or any of that stuff. You don't have a particular thing you do every time.
No, occasionally I've gone to a great costume designer on something and thinking, I don't know what the costume is. I don't even know who she is. And they'll say, well, I see her in this. I think, oh, right, so that's who she... Oh, OK.
Just borrow. I'll borrow anything.
Yes.
I was going to ask you a question. I think you've answered it, actually. But do you think it's a proper job being a comedian? Then?
Oh, I think it's a vital job. I think it's, for all the reasons, you know, that it's healing, that it helps people put things in perspective. Laughter is known to be a healing thing. And you must know, you know, how people say thank you for making me laugh.
But I get a bit embarrassed when that happens.
Oh, well, I don't think you should be. It's a great gift, and there's...
But it's a gift, that's exactly it. It feels like a gift that it's a bit of a cheek to charge people for. To me, a little bit. I never think that of anyone else. I'm grateful that there are other people there doing it.
You've got to live. You've got to live and work. Like healers, they have to charge. You know, you think, well, you shouldn't charge for this. I'm helping people get better. But whoever it is, doctors have to. Everyone does. I'm not saying that an actor or anybody is a doctor, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. It's a strange job.
Oh, yes, and it's hugely stressful, I think, because you're constantly, it's like we were talking about the awards and everything, you're constantly up for judgment. What other job has... My sister-in-law said to me the other day, she's a teacher, so she said they'd had Ofsted. She said, oh, God, you've no idea. I said, what? She said, to have someone watching your every move and then write about you. I said, hello? And she went, oh, yes. And she started to laugh. And I said, that our whole lives are like that, in a sense.
Yeah.
And so, and that's very stressful, and to have no anonymity. Anonymity is a fabulous thing until you lose. You don't realise, do you, until you lose it?
Yeah, that's right. Do you think that you have pressure on you, personally, socially, to be funny? Do you think people think, oh, here comes that she's going to make us like... Do you have that?
A bit. a bit, and people say, oh, and Grant gets it. You're always laughing in your house. No,